Many people in Boston struggle with barriers to meeting their needs for healthy food. Part of the solution is Daily Table, a not-for-profit store that tries to make wholesome, delicious food more affordable. After its first store opened 2.5 years ago in Dorchester, Daily Table is expanding to a location in Roxbury. To bring us up to date is the founder of Daily Table, Doug Rauch. Thank you very much for being with us, Doug.
Great to be here, Chris.
In a past life, you were one of the top people at Trader Joe's. It seems to be a bit of a leap from that to what you're doing now. What made you do that?
Well, first of all, Trader Joe's, great company, wonderful people, great concept. I was very happy to be associated with them for a lot of years. And when I graduated from there after my 31 years and, quote, retired, I didn't know what I was going to do exactly. I thought maybe I'd sit on boards. I was chairing the board of WBUR, for which I did for a number of years, and working with other nonprofits. But I had an opportunity to do a fellowship at Harvard in a brand new fellowship they had called the Advanced Leadership Initiative, which took people at the end of their careers, senior executives, and from both public and private service, and said, well, what if we gave you the run of the university, all the different colleges and campuses, work with faculty and students to tackle some major social challenge, and then at the end of it, have to stand and deliver on what are you going to do about it? So I really liked that. I liked that challenge. I was ready to get active again with something. And so I took on this issue of why on earth, in the richest nation in the history of the world in food production, can we possibly have 1 in 7 people go hungry?
Well, of course, one of the things they're dealing with is their idiom puts it nowadays, you're dealing with people who live in a food desert. Talk about what makes them in a desert exactly.
Yeah, I'll be very blunt. I think that phrase is I'm not a fan of that phrase. It's not used properly, in my opinion. Here's the reason why. I understand that there are people that don't have any physical access to food, and that's true in many areas. Boston doesn't happen to be one that has true food deserts in the classical sense. What I do believe in, and what does exist, are economic food deserts, where you could put a Trader Joe's or a Walmart or a Stop and Shop or whatever you want on every corner in an inner city of Boston or anywhere else. And the problem would be that most of these 1 in 7 that are food insecure or hungry still couldn't afford to eat the foods they should be eating. And so what happens is you'll still end up eating just a lot of empty calories instead of nutrients, which is why diabetes, obesity, and heart disease are so prevalent and skyrocketing in these populations. So it's really about a food desert, in my mind, is an accurate description if you include the economics as well as the physical access.
Well, of course, a lot of the issue for people is the cost of fresh fruit and vegetables. Some of us take that for granted, but if you buy what you need, that can add up, right?
Oh, well, I mean, there's no question that fresh fruits and vegetables, clean dairy and protein are expensive because nutrients in our food system starts with a farm bill and works its way on up through the system. It's not because anyone along the way got greedy. It's just that the way we have priced things as a country is around creating cheap calories, and hence nutrients are expensive. And it all comes back out of the nutrition. If you look at, out of the depression. If you look at where the trail of this all came from, the first farm subsidy started in the Depression to keep farmers on the farm. And then of course, by the time World War II ended, it was too late to take them away. And that's continuing on this day, hence making high fructose corn syrup so cheap, et cetera, et cetera. And then the foods that probably would be good for us that we should be eating are very expensive.
So how do you make them cheaper?
Well, we do it by 3 different ways. One is volunteers. We get 250 to 300 hours a week of volunteers. People come down, organizations, many fine institutions and colleges here in Boston come down and volunteer time, help lower our cost. Second is we go out and we go to the produce market. We deal with manufacturers that have excess inventory, too much product, or product that's getting short on code that they're not going to sell out by the time it gets to the end of the code. And so we bring that product in. We don't sell anything past its code date, but we'll sell things right up to the code date. And we'll get produce that every day if you go to the produce market, you can find stuff that there was just too much of. Maybe some avocados that are just starting to get a little soft. They're not ready for guacamole yet, but they're not rock hard. Grocers want to get avocados when they're rock hard because then they can ripen in the store. We'll take that pallet that is just starting to soften, or bananas that aren't green, that are just starting to yellow. So we'll go in and we'll either get donated or at a greatly reduced price, produce and product from manufacturers, growers. There are many organizations here in Boston area gleaners, Food for Free in Cambridge, that go around and collect food from farms and farmers markets, and we participate in being able to receive some of that.
This has been the news, and we're talking with Doug Rauch from Daily Table. Doug, another way to make food more healthy is to get us to prepare more of it ourselves as opposed to buying processed food, and it's something that your store does, right?
Yeah, we do. I will say, Chris, in all honesty, that one of the big learnings I had going down into the community and spending now the last 4 years in the community is that one of the kind of misnomers I had was that people that are struggling economically probably have more time. And the answer is, what was I dreaming? What was I thinking? No, they're working 2 or 3 jobs. They have less time, not more time. Therefore, they dissuaded us in the very beginning of this concept and said, if you really want to help, don't just give us a bunch of fruits and vegetables and chicken, go home and cook. Because at the end of a long day, working 2 or 3 jobs, maybe often taking public transportation, getting off the bus, I don't have time or energy to cook. So if you really want to help, put in a kitchen, cook us up some fresh grab-and-go meals, entrees, soup, salads, smoothies, everything, where we can come in, take that home, and in 2 or 3 minutes, we got dinner on the table. Have it make sure it's delicious, it's fresh, it's nutritious, and it doesn't cost any more than the less nutritious food in the neighborhood that we would have gotten. And that's what we deliver on.
Well, you're not just selling food, you're also connecting with community organizations, the local health center, Dudley Square, YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, Kid Clark Senior House. Yeah. How does that change what happens with your business?
Well, it changes a lot because it turns out, of course, that almost any of the problems that are social challenges for us are systemic problems. There's no silver bullet. There's no Daily Table can't solve the problem by itself. So we are part of a network that is out trying to solve this problem, trying to create sustainable solutions. Common Square Health Center has been a wonderful partner. They own the building that we're in, and they put in for us and utilize also a teaching kitchen where we 4 days a week give classes on a variety of subjects taught by registered dietitians who are trained in this that teach both kids after class and adults free of charge, all about nutrition and all about how to make food fun, how to make it inexpensive, how to make it quick. If you have diabetes or heart disease, what kind of a diet can you do? So not just do we offer foods that we've cooked up and produce and dairy and things, but we also try to have people be able to, by interacting with us through a teaching kitchen, learn about the impact that food has on their health and how they can go home and when they have time, cook up meals that are really healthy and nutritious, but will taste good and meet their budget.
We're talking about your decision to have your new store in Roxbury because there is another food store that just opened up there, a new building just a few years ago. There's talk of a new development on Tremont Street with a food store component. So it looks like competition, but talk about what really convinced you that this is a thing that's needed where it is.
Yeah, well, so for instance, Tropical Foods, wonderful community retailer. They have been there for a long time. They have a brand new building right around the corner from us, basically, about a block and a half away. But what we're doing is something different than your traditional grocery retailer. We really are a hunger relief healthcare initiative that's masquerading as a food store. What our mission is to make sure that people that are food insecure, people that are on SNAP, old name of food stamp, the new name for the food stamp program, people that are truly struggling economically can come in and buy all the fruits and vegetables, clean dairy, protein, have meals prepared and all that, and meet their budget. And that's a challenge that goes against what anyone, whether you're Walmart, Trader Joe's, Tropical Foods, or anyone else, can provide at an economic value, unless you either go out and recover some food, which we get donated to us because we're a nonprofit, or you get volunteer work that helps lower the cost, because there's no way to economically make that work if you're going to offer what costs at a high level at a low price, unless you can reduce that product by getting some of it donated and by having some labor component go in that helps you. Now, having said that, we hire 60 people. In our 2 stores, we have a little over 60 employees. We hire from the community in the neighborhood. Communities like that. So we've created jobs. We provide for the community and work with all those agencies you mentioned and many others to try to make sure that we are lifting up a community, both from a nutritional standpoint, but also from a sense of just providing some economic viability.
Finally, we should mention the location for the Roxbury store and exactly when you're opening for business.
Yeah, so it's at 2201 Washington. It's on the corner of Ruggles and Washington, just a block down or a block and a half from the Dudley bus station, Dudley Square bus station. And we'll open at 8 o'clock on Friday morning, the 26th.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Chris. It's a
Doug
pleasure.
Rauch from Daily Table.